Hello, Miss. I want to thank you so much for joining me today, um, Miss Array, for, that way we could talk to the youth about health and nutrition.
Absolutely. I'm so glad to be here. Thanks for having me. And I think, this is such an important topic, especially in times like this.
Right. So, what kind of tips can you give the youth, especially in this and outside of this, because the whole pandemic situation, but on the flip side of it too, coming out of it, definitely because I watched a documentary a while ago called What the Health, and when I watched that, I was already like against certain foods and things like that. So, and then now with this pandemic going on, it kind of makes me think even more because when the world shuts down or everybody's buying up everything, my concern is um once the supermarkets get back restocked and all of this other kind of stuff, like, are we really going to be paying attention to what we eat? Because there's no way in the world you can mass produce for the world
Yeah.
that quick. So certain things are going to be missing. Certain things that are not supposed to be in foods are going to be added. Um, and definitely, with youth, there's obesity going on. There's not good eating habits. I know with my oldest son, I had to be careful with certain foods I gave him because it triggered certain things in the body, certain dyes and everything. So it is just a lot with nutrition if you don't pay attention.
Yeah. I would say definitely, and the pandemic has made it even more difficult because right now, when a parent goes to the store, they're not looking for the vegetable aisle. They're trying to get the next bag of noodles. So if they're on lockdown, they at least have something to eat.
Right.
So if you look at the stores right now, the you know noodle aisles and bread aisles and all that stuff, that's what is getting out real quick because nobody wants to buy a whole lot of vegetables, right?
Right.
And keep it in the house because that's not something you can store long term, but people can definitely store the noodles and stuff like that. Whether or not we go back to our normal habits after this, I do want to say first, we're going to get past this.
Yes.
Yes. And life will get back to being normal. It may not be our regular normality, but we will have a new normal. And
Right.
that is
That's what
totally
I
fine.
feel. That's what I feel. I strongly believe that there is going to be a new normalness, and it could definitely work out for the better.
Yeah, I agree because as you talked about mass production, it's making every industry to reinvent themselves and see how we can prevent this from happening again. And then also, our regular lifestyle, was that really sustainable? Was it
Mhm.
effective? Was it qualitative and quantitative? Like, do we really need office spaces? Stuff like that.
Right.
People are thinking outside the box right now, and I think we're going to emerge out of this even better.
Right.
But when I was, thinking, if I were in high school or, middle school, what would I want to hear about in terms of healthy living? What are some things that I wish somebody would have told me? And those are one of the things that I would like to share with, the students today. But I would like to start by really reiterating the importance of having a healthy lifestyle. Healthy lifestyle goes beyond dieting.
Mhm.
It goes beyond working out. It's the total person.
Mhm.
How are you emotionally? Are you healthy physically? Are you healthy spiritually?
Mhm.
You know, are you healthy as a whole? Mentally, how are you? I always ask people, what's working well in your life today?
Right.
Or what's not working well. Because the tendency is whenever you ask people, how are you doing? The number of responses, I'm okay, I'm fine. You know, if you ask responses that provokes their thought process to actually think, then you get a better and honest response.
Right.
And another reason it's so important to prioritize healthy lifestyle is because science proves that students that take care of themselves and practice healthy habits, they think better,
Mm-hmm.
they have quicker memory spans, they produce better in school, and they can retain information better.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you are not practicing healthy lifestyle, now is a time to really think about that because it affects your productivity at school. It affects how you perform. And just getting into a healthy lifestyle really helps in all of those aspects. And now is the time. There is no time better than this.
Right.
Ask me how difficult it is for me to start a new workout regime in my age right now. It's harder. But if you can cultivate these habits now that you're in, middle school and high school, those things become your lifestyle as you get older.
Right.
And as older as you get, it's a lot harder to start new things.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can develop this as part of your lifestyle, I promise you that you won't have to start over because that's already part of you and that's what you do. So one thing I would like to start with is, staying healthy, especially in a time like this with the coronavirus going on. I cannot emphasize to stay healthy, stay safe, and stay at home as much as you can. Okay? There is no point trying to hang out with your friends right now. You will see them, I see your eyes. You have teenagers, so they're probably asking, when can my friends come
Yeah.
over?
And not only like my teenager, so I was eating the other day and I FaceTime one of the students because I hadn't heard from him in a while. So I text him and he never responded. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So he has me on read so I can see if he read the message. He never opened the message. So I said, because there's so much going on in Wilmington. I'm like, no, let me just FaceTime him to see if he answered. He answers and he's like, what are you eating? And I'm like, telling him what I'm eating and everything because I made some lamb and rice and I cook up my vegetables like my mushrooms and stuff because now I had definitely cut out meat
Oh,
and it was really 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 working for me. It was amazing. But like you were saying, when you are in this situation, you gotta, when you pack a whole bunch of fruits and vegetables in the house, it's like you eating them up so quick that you got to keep going out and going out. And I don't want to have to keep going to the supermarket. And
yeah.
then, I have children. So I don't want to have to drag them out every time. And then if I leave them, I don't want to have to leave them long. So it's just like a lot. So I'm asking him, I'm saying, okay, so do you want some? And he's like, yeah, could you bring me some? So I said, okay. I go take him some, and he's like, all right, could you wait for me for a little bit? Because I'm hanging with my friends. I'm on my way. I'm like, you're supposed to be in the house. What are you doing? And then when he picks up the food, he getting out the car with his boys. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, my Lanta. What are
Teenagers being
you
teenagers.
doing?
Yeah. So it is so important to follow the state of emergency. Right now, it's actually a national emergency. So
Right, not just
until
the state.
until the state opens up for business, and until the state says you can go back to school, you can start hanging out with your friends, stay at home. And if you must go out to the grocery store, please practice proper hygiene. That is so important. And it's not just you protecting everybody else around you, it's important for you. I know it's hard to say, use a hand sanitizer, wash your hands, wear a mask. You can get you some cool looking mask and still look cute. Okay. So don't hesitate to follow those state guidelines and the CDC guidelines. One thing I also ask, there is too much information out there. Don't
Wait.
overload yourself with information. Choose a trusted source of information, whether it's a CDC, WHO, or a news outlet, just choose one or two trusted sources of information and stick with it. You know, the more your information overloading, it confuses you. So it's so important to stay informed, but it's also important to filter out information that you receive into your life. You know, with this whole thing going, pandemic going crazy, with the uncertainties around it, it makes it even harder because nobody knows when it would end. Nobody knows about a cure right now. So it can get confusing. But I ask you not to overwhelm yourself with too much information. Stay informed, but don't overwhelm yourself. Okay. And I know everybody is probably downloaded Netflix right now, watching TV and all of that stuff. It is great. It's a great form of distraction and entertainment, but don't overdo it. Don't overdo it. Use this time lucratively. Be creative. Be proactive. Think about some things that you've been wanting to do with your parents, with your family. Engage in those things. Whether it's starting up, helping your parents start a garden in the backyard, you know, whatever it is, whether it's starting a new project. And I'm sure a lot of you have homework and schoolwork still going on. So you still have to turn your homework in on time. You still have to do your schoolwork. Don't think this is free time to stay on Netflix all day. So limit the amount of time you spend on the computer unless you're actually doing schoolwork or doing something productive. Limit the amount of time you spend in front of the computer screen. You know, it's good to have a schedule on when, you know, this is my recreational time. This is time for work. And this is time to help mom and dad around the house. Okay? Because there is something called house chores. You can really help out your parents right now. You know, during school time, you don't have a lot of time to spend at home. And by participating in house chores actually helps you be more disciplined. And it also puts your mind in tune with everything else that is going on. And it's a very fulfilling feeling when you do the dishes, clean your room, help out, you know, around the house. It's a very fulfilling thing to do. You're not doing it for your parents, you're doing it for you. So you reap up that benefit of being a valuable contributor to the house. Okay? So think about ways that you can be very useful around the house this time when you have not been able to do so while you were in school. And, you know, I said be responsible. If you're in high school, some of you are probably driving. You know, I don't expect any of you to be drinking right now. You know, I don't think any of you are old enough to be smoking right now. And none of you should definitely be doing drugs, okay? So those are things that I say, don't. Stay away from it. I have a first surgeon that I work with. He usually says that don't do dumb things with dumb people in dumb places, okay? Don't do dumb things with dumb people in dumb places. So think about that. Every time you want to do something, ask yourself, is this a smart choice? Is this a smart place? And am I hanging out with the right crowd? You know, will my parents approve? Will my teachers approve? So think about those things. This is all part of living a healthy lifestyle, your actions and, you know, your contribution to society, okay? And then, you know, rest. So now is not the time to burn out, you know, midnight candles. Now is not the time to burn out yourself. You know, rest. Get at least 8 hours of sleep a day. That will help you.
Taking naps. Ooh, yeah. I've been taking naps in between.
It's so important.
Awesome.
It's important. You know, I know a lot of you are staying up all night watching Netflix. I know it. But think about how tired, yeah, and you to think about how tired you wake up and you are in the morning and you're not present. You're not present because you're tired. So think about that stuff. So when it comes to staying healthy and safe, again, you know, practice proper hygiene, watch less TV, be a valuable contributor at home, do your homework, you know, rest well, okay? And then the other part is, how are you eating? You know, I mentioned earlier about, you know, a lot of people are grabbing stuff from the store that would last longer on the shelves. You know, just because you have a box of noodles at home doesn't mean you should eat 10 at the same time. So I don't like to use the word dieting because dieting already puts a negative part that, we're advising you to restrict your diet or do this. No. So let's talk about, eating well. How are you eating? When you look at the food in front of you, does that look like you're eating well? Does it look like you're eating enough? Does it look like you're eating too much? So does it look like you're eating the right proportions of your proteins and your carbs and stuff like that? So how is your eating? That's something that you have to take responsibility for. And it's not something you want to wait until you're older and say, I'm going to watch my eating when I'm older and want to get married, or when I'm older and want to
metabolism is going to be slow.
Yeah, it's a lot harder. Then you can ask Miss Moore. She'll tell you, she agrees with me. It's a lot harder as you get older. What did I say at the beginning? Now is a time to start those healthy lifestyles. So as you're getting older, you're not even trying. It's already a part of you. So every time you pick up food to eat, just ask yourself, am I eating well? And you think about the quantity, the quality of the food, and the proportions. Am I eating well? Fruits and vegetables really are good for you. I know you don't believe me, but I promise you, go a day and just eat only fruits and vegetables and let me know how you feel the next day, compared to going days and eating meats and junk food and stuff like that. Let me know how you feel.
Some hot Takis.
Let me know about your bowel movement. Let me know about certain foods actually produce skin odor. Do you know that? If you eat a lot of food that are rich in like garlic and a lot of food that are rich in certain ingredients, they produce body odor. So it's so important to eat healthy. It's so important. Be friends with your fruits. Be friends with your vegetables. And if you don't like a certain vegetable, find one that you like. Maybe you don't like the way it's being cooked. Do some research and ask, fun ways to cook, spinach. So long as you're incorporating those things in your diet, it really helps. If you don't like an apple, maybe eat the apple with peanut butter or chocolate. Find ways, and I'm not saying, go eat a whole bucket of chocolate because then you're not eating, well.
Right, at all.
Find ways to make the food more pleasant to you that you can, you can eat it. And I got another secret for you. Do you know that water is better than soda?
So much better.
Okay, so
And
try it.
juice, all of that sugar in the juice, and
And even the 100% juice you see in the store, read the ingredients. If it's 100%, that ingredient should only say orange juice. When you start saying every other thing, then it's not 100% juice. So, and I don't even want to talk about the gallons of juice that when you start reading the fine print, it says orange juice, but it's 5% juice. So those are things you should be looking into.
and those Hawaiian punches. Oh, stay away from those.
Yeah, stay away.
Please.
And I know some of the challenges are, but it's more expensive to buy, 100% gallon of juice than the ones on the shelf. But I'm saying instead of buying the ones from the shelf every day, which you don't need, which is not eating well, you can use that money and buy one really good gallon of juice that you don't need every day, and you can spread it out. So it's just how you're allocating your dollars, okay? And that would help you portion your amount of, juice and sugar intake, and drink more water, okay? And if you find yourself drinking a lot of the sodas and juice, you're probably just dehydrated. Take a bottle of water, get a cup of water, and that would actually help you better and feel better and reduce your cravings for the juices. And stay away from the fast foods. Go home, eat mom's food,
Some people said that they're actually losing weight because their energy feels different.
Yeah,
so, because they're actually eating at home. And is some restaurants, restaurants are considered essential, but some can't stay open. And I've talk to some adults and things like that, and they're just like, they feel so much better,
Mm,
moods and everything, because cooking and eating at home is helping them. And I was like, yeah, that's why I used to always tell people. People used
yeah,
to always, they'd be like, girl, every time I turn around, you got money, you buying this, you buying that, because I cook at home. I
yeah,
eat my home cooking. And
yeah.
then when, I lost all this weight, I went from a 16 to a 12. Everyone
Mm,
was like, oh my goodness, what did you do? Number
yeah.
one, there was a lot of fasting. There was a lot of prayer, but I cut out meat. And I did have seafood. And then, periodically I had like, lamb and things like that, and
Yeah.
maybe some chicken and turkey.
Your frog legs.
Yeah, I wanted something, man. I can't wait. I said, I'm going to season my frog legs up, and I'm gonna fry them. And I don't eat fried food.
Yeah.
I do not like it. I don't like it because, just like, Ms. Linda was talking about the odors, you also have to be careful what you eat, because it comes out of your pores.
Yeah.
So the reason why I don't eat fried food is because it it comes out of my face, the oils and everything, and then I could smell it, and but I
Yeah.
said, one day is not bad. So I'm gonna fry me up some frog legs. I can't wait.
Go
Um,
for it.
but
Those are
so
French delicacies, so definitely enjoy it.
yes, so I want to thank you so much for joining me today, and empowering the youth about healthy lifestyles, because it's just not about what you eat; it's about what you do.
It's a total person,
Right.
honestly. And
It's a whole package. What you do, how you act, your emotions. And the one thing I wanted to say is a like a routine. You
yeah,
know, use this time to start a healthy routine, because that's all a part of your lifestyle. How you eat is a part of your eating routine. How you think is a part of your thinking routine. That's why she said the whole person.
yeah. And one thing I would like to emphasize too is taking care of your mental health, right?
Yes.
You got to make sure that up here is healthy, because that controls here and controls the whole person. So now is not the time for you to have a lot of free time that you just let your mind wander.
Right.
That's why if you practice all these other things that I mentioned earlier, staying healthy, eating well, and being conscious about how you're spending your time, you're occupying your mind with positivity and positive stuff. And
Read
I don't
good
expect you,
food.
yeah, I don't expect you to know what you want to do with your life right now. If you already know it, fine. But I promise you, find something you're really good at, and something you enjoy doing, and use that time, to use this time to do that. And when I talk about something you're really good at, I'm not talking about, make sure it's legal, make sure your parents and your teachers approve of it.
Right.
So just because you're good at it doesn't mean it's a positive thing. So find something that is legal and positive, that your parents and your teachers approve of it, that you enjoy doing. And stuff like that are going to map out the man or the woman that you will become, because that's how you start finding what your purpose is. I don't expect you to know that right now. Also, cultivate healthy relationships. If you have
Yes.
friends that are doing things that your teachers and your parents will not approve, definitely cut them out. And it's okay. They may think you're boring and stuff like that, but tomorrow when you're graduated and you're successful and they are not, then you would see why it's so important to listen to your parents, and why it's so important to keep those friends that lift you up. If you also have friends that are not treating you nicely, you don't have to be friends with them. Okay? And if they don't think you're cool, that's fine. You can form your own cool group all by yourself. So you don't have to follow the crowd, you know. And if you definitely find somebody that you can talk to, if you're having days that you just don't feel well, days that you're unhappy, find somebody. It may be you're not a friend, it may be a parent, it may be a teacher. Just make sure that you have somebody that on days that you are not feeling good about anything, you can go to that person and talk to them. And please be respectful.
Please.
Have respect for your friends. Have respect for your siblings. Have respect for your teachers. Have respect for your parents. Most importantly, have respect for yourself.
Right.
If you have respect for yourself, you would love yourself enough to want to live a very healthy lifestyle. So I
Mm-hmm.
really want to encourage you today to just have love for yourself. Look
Yes.
at yourself in the mirror every day and say, I love the young woman. I love the young man that I'm looking at. And if any day you wake up and you don't feel that love, find that person that I just mentioned and talk to and tell them what's going on. Okay? Go out there and be good because I know you all got this.
Yes, be great with healthy lifestyle. Start now because this is the best time to start. This is really the
Absolutely.
best time to start while you're young. And then, like we were saying, although it's a pandemic going on, this is the best time to use this time to start new healthy habits. So this way, you don't have to worry about it once you get older and you're like, oh, I should have hit the reset button when I was in that pandemic. Yeah, hit the reset button now. Start
Yeah.
that healthy lifestyle in all areas of your life and definitely focus on up here because this runs the whole body. Like this operates everything. How you think shows up,
Yeah.
period. How you think about yourself, how you think about situations, it comes through just like the oil I was talking about through my pores when I eat fried food. It shows up and it lets people know when you walk in the room. So let's pour more positive things. And even if you guys are on YouTube, start looking up. I love what she said. Look in the mirror and tell yourself, I'm a beautiful young woman. I'm a beautiful young man. One of my projects while we're in this house is I'm going to write a family book of affirmations.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
start looking up different affirmations and soon you won't need to look no more because I'm gonna have a whole YouTube of affirmations for y'all. But
That's
start
awesome.
looking up affirmations. Wake
That's
yourself up and tell yourself who you are, who you know you are. Don't worry about what the world says, but that's also a part of a healthy lifestyle, making sure that you mentally know I am great, I am wonderful, I am the head and not the tail, I am above and not beneath. Start telling yourself these things so that way if somebody calls you dark skin, oh, you too dark, oh, I'm dark and beautiful,
Yeah.
or you too light, well, I am caramel and beautiful. Start getting these healthy things on the inside of you, because I really don't like YouTube because there's so many things on YouTube, but find the positive things on YouTube. There are some very positive things. So we definitely love the fact that you guys are listening and watching, and we do not take this time lightly, and we're so glad to be able to pour into you guys today. So that is it today for Secure the Seed with Healthy Lifestyles with Ms. Linda Arrey. And once again, thank you so much for sharing healthy lifestyles with us.
Thanks for having me. I totally enjoyed it.
All right.